Hello, my name is HUANG Zijia. Here I want to give a solution about the chapter 5, question 1. My student ID is 22096977D. So let's see the original question first. It asks us to do the decision that whether the claim is true or not. The claim is that 40% of those persons who retired before the age of 65 would return to work if a suitable job was available. It also asks us to do the investigate at the 0.05 level of significance. Also, they give us the fact proportion is the 70 out of the 200 workers said that they would return to work. So let's figure out the hypothesis first. So I suppose that HD is the 40% of those persons who retired before the age of 65 would return to work, and H1. So H1 is 30% of those people who retired before the age of 65 would not return to work. So it makes it easy to see this is a two-tile test. So we do a preliminary analysis first. After seeing this question, I think we need to use the sample proportion. So according to the formula below, I use a sample proportion. So we figure out the PD is 0.4, and the original proportion, is 7/20. So we calculate this score according to the formula. So next step, we need to find the critical region. Because it is a two-tile test, so we need to find the significance of half 0.05. So we just find the true value in the table. So after we see the table, according to the table, we find that the critical region is in either z less than minus 1.96 or z bigger than 1.96. So according to the value of this score, we found that this score is not in the critical region, so we don't reject HD. So the decision is that 40% of those persons who retired before the age of 65 would return to work. That's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is WONG Pun Wing. And then I will discuss the question 5.2. As the question say, the distribution follow normal distribution, so we can know the population mean is 200, and the standard deviation of the population is 30. And then we also know the number of sample is 40, and the sample mean is 198. Then we can analyze the question. We set H naught is that the average of the sample is mu equals to 200. The H1 is the average is less than 200. So from this question, we can know that it is a one-tailed test. Then we can apply the test statistic formula and put some number into the formula. We can calculate the z-score is minus 0.4216. Then the question require at 0.1 level. So we have alpha equals to 0.1. From the table, we get 0.1 is equals to 1.282. Therefore, the critical region is less than minus 1.282. as the Z score do not meet the critical region. So we can get the conclusion. Do not reject the H0. The average source per bottle is 200 ml.
Hello, my name is KAO Ka Shing Johnny. Today I will explain the question 5.3. In the question 5.3, this is the question about one sample t-test. And we can find out that the sample mean of this question is 8,945. And the hypothesis mean is 8,500. And the sample standard deviation is 1,150. And the sample size is 45. And in this question, we should find out that the average cost of tuition is more than 8,500 or not. So before we find out the answer of the question, we should decide which test statistic we use. We use t-test to calculate the answer. So the one I highlight in yellow is the t-test formula. And the below is to find out the degree of freedom. So in this question, first, we should know that the hypothesis is the average cost of tuition is 8,500. And the alternative hypothesis is the average cost of tuition is greater than 8,500. So we push the number into the t-test formula. And we can find out the t-score, which is 2.59578361. And after we load the t-score, we can find out the degree of freedom in order to find out the number on the t-table. And the degree of freedom of this question is 44. So because we need to test as 5% level of significance, so we can find out the answer in this. So the answer is 1.64. So t greater than 1.645. So we agree that the average cost of tuition is more than 8,500.
Hello, my name is CHENG Kai Lam. My student ID is 23094195D, and here is my student ID card. Today, we are going to talk about the solution of question 5.5. Here is the question of 5.5, and there is some important things we need to know before our calculation. The sample size of income fund is 35, while the sample size of the growth fund is 40. The mean of income fund is 900, while the mean of the growth fund is 875. The standard deviation of income fund is 30, while the standard deviation of growth fund is 45. Then we can make some hypotheses. Hypothesis 0 means that the mean yield of the two funds is the same, while hypothesis 1 means that the mean yield of the two funds is different. Therefore, it is a two-tailed test. As we are going to test the difference between two mean, we will use the following formula and the critical region will show like this. This is my calculation, and we can calculate that EZ is equal to 2.8613. Then we need to find the critical region. As it is about 0.02 significance level, 0.02 need to be divided into 2 to find out the critical region. So, and then we will use the table of the standardized normal distribution to find the closest answer. And in this case, the closest answer is 2.33, which is shown in the PowerPoint as well. So the critical region is in here as shown, also shown in the PowerPoint. Then we can draw our final conclusion. This Z score is in the critical region, so we will reject hypothesis 0 as 0.02 significance level. As we reject hypothesis 0, hypothesis 1 will be correct. Therefore, there is difference in the mean yield of the two funds at 0.02 significance level. This is the end of my presentation, and the following question will be answered by my other teammate. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yoonsung Kim from Group D, and today I'm going to discuss about question 5.8. So the question 5.8 is using a good old fitness test, and I have to get the decisions at the level of 1% of significance. So first of all, we have to figure out the hypothesis of the problem. Using the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, we have to get H0 equals there are no clear preference among voters, and H1 is there are clear preference among voters. So let's try to solve it. So using the good old fitness test, in this test it will use the following formula, which is x squared test equals overall of OI minus EI over squared and over EI. So in here, OI represent the observed frequency of cell in class I, and EI represent the expected frequency of cell I under the hypothesis distribution. So MPI equals EI. To get to MPI, we have to get N and PI. For the N candidate, we have to add all the number of candidates, which is A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F, which is 120. And for the PI, we have to get 1 over number of candidate, which is 1 over 6. Therefore, we can get a EI equals 120 divided by 1 over 6, we can get an EI of 20. So after all, we have to use goodness of fitness test to get the answers. So 13 minus 20 over overall squared over 20 plus etc. going on, and therefore we can get an answer of 12.2. So after that, to get the V, we have to get a number of cells after combination minus 1. So using the 1% level of significance, using the table of chi-square distribution, we can get a V equals 5, and we can get using a 0.01, which is the 1% level of significance, we can get an answer of 15.086. So as an answer is, do not reject H0 at A equals 0.01. X squared test is smaller than X squared critical value. Thank you.
Hello, this is Yiyang from Group D, and I'm going to talk about question 5.9, and this is a chi-square test question. So, first thing first, let's see about the original questions. The question asks us to test if the gender has a relationship to the speed limit. There is the 100 people are involved in this test, and the number of male is 65 and number of female is 35. And we're gonna test this question in 5% level of significance. So first thing first, we need to figure out the hypothesis. The hypothesis 0 is there is no relationship between the existing speed limit and the gender. And the hypothesis 1 is there is a relationship between existing the speed limit and the gender.
Then we need to figure out the expected value Eij. The expected value can calculate it as the table total of row I times table total of column J and divided by the total number of people, which is 100. And for the male, existing the speed is 29.25. For the male does not existing is 35.75. And for the female existing is 15.75. And for the female not existing the speed is 19.25. Then we calculate the square test value. The square test value can calculate as the sum of OI minus EI square and divided by EI. The test value in this case are calculated as 0.0999. After that, we need to find the critical region. Because the question asked is about the 0.05 level of significance, and the degree of freedom is equal to 2 minus 1 times 2 minus 1, which is 2 column minus 1, and the degree of freedom is 1. So the critical region S squared is 3.841 according to the table of chi-square distribution. And the test value we calculate is smaller than the critical region. So the conclusion is we do not reject H0 at the level of 5%, alpha equals 5%. So there is no relationship between the existing the speed limit and the gender. And thank you for watching. That is my presentation.